Hello, everyone. Welcome to week 6. We have only 8 weeks in the course, so 6, 7, and 8. So we're getting very close to done. I hope you are all feeling good with your work so far. I've been pretty happy with what everybody's been doing. There have been a number of people who haven't been turning in their assignments for this last couple things, but that's okay for the rest of us, I suppose. Okay, so again, I do want to apologize for taking an extra day to get this out. I know I haven't been on the email much either. I do apologize. I am going to push back, like I said in the email, I'm going to push back the draft a day, and that'll give you roughly the same amount of time to do the draft from the ReseLive video. In fact, the exact same amount of time, 7 days. So, I'm going to try to have the outlines done pretty quickly. Thursday, I'm hoping by the latest. But we're going to see how that goes. Sorry, I'm not working off a lot of sleep. So, this week, we are finally in the last phase of the project. Up until this point, we've been doing all the steps of the research process in order to arrive at this moment. We'll be working on the essay draft. This is kind of where everything has been leading up. I've mentioned this in the past. Hopefully it's not too much of a surprise, but that's sort of why we've been doing all the other steps. Like I mentioned, you do the research proposal to solidify your topic, then the annotated bib to get familiar with your sources, then the lit review to get familiar with the research as a whole, and then the outline to prepare, and now we're at this point. So at this point, all of you have written some kind of essay. You had to have done 101, but also in most of your worldview classes, you would have written at least something. So we all kind of know the basics of how to write an essay. So I'm not going to necessarily go over that in too much detail. I will mention I have seen a lot of students with issues with basic paragraph structure, and that's a pretty major problem at this point in the academic rating situation, because the paragraph is basically the second level of organization after the sentence. If you don't have that down, it's going to be a major issue. And I've talked to a lot of you about it, but just keep that in mind. Remember, a solid paragraph should have 3 elements: the topic or claim, the evidence and the analysis of that evidence. You might say to yourself, well, not every paragraph I'm going to have is going to have an argument or a claim. And, that's not entirely true. I mean, even simple statements like, Papa John's has the best pizza because it has the best cheese. And then you talk about the kind of cheeses on it, so you're getting the topic, the evidence, and then analysis, but talking about cheese. It's a stupid example, but I always use the pizza example for some reason, because pizza's good. So that's going to be your basic structure for any paragraph. When you get to a more advanced level of writing, you can definitely play with that structure. And in fiction writing and other non-formal kinds of writing, it's even more common to play with it. But at this point, you really need to have that structure down. You also need to make sure that your paragraphs are limited to that. A lot of times what I've seen is people try to have like a header section and everything be one paragraph. And sometimes that's appropriate, especially if it's a smaller section. But I feel like a lot of people just kind of say, screw it, and they just wing it, and they'll have like a page-long paragraph, and that's not okay. So that's just basic writing stuff. At this point, your theses seem to be okay. Again, there's some people that have been edging towards Non-argumentative theses, and that's not good. We're trying to argue something in a cause-effect or a problem-solution kind of way. Not a compare and contrast. That's going to be a problem. There will inevitably be some comparing going on, but we're not doing a compare and contrast. We're doing a cause-effect, problem-solution. We're trying to say, there is this issue, this is how we solve this issue, or there is this issue, this is what caused this issue. And we're trying to also go beyond that. A good academic paper is going to have your thesis, it's going to prove your thesis, and then it's going to suggest how we can go beyond it. So in a problem solution, you're going to find the problem, you're going to have your thesis, that's like, this is the thing, you're going to build up the thesis, the problem will be the topic, and the thesis will be like the argument, how to fix it, and then at some point you want to move beyond just like, this is the fix, like, maybe what we can look at in the future, what we can do to improve things, what kind of knowledge we need moving forward, what areas of research. That's again this is all stuff that more or less you all should have at least have some familiarity with if you've taken 101, if you've taken other classes of writing. That's why this class isn't so much focused on writing, it's focused on research writing. It's the process of research. But of course, if you are having problems with any of those basic writing things, that's absolutely okay. That's why the Writing Center exists. That's why I'm here. We can definitely get you to where you need to go. Okay, so the description for the essay, as far as the assignment goes, is pretty simple. 2,500 words. You're going to use authoritative scholarly sources. For the draft, you're only going to have to use 5. There will be more in the final. That's okay. We're not doing informative. Again, we're doing inquisitive or argumentative. And your essay should conform to APA research or guidelines. Again, there's reading for that. Like this assignment says, Chapter 22, formatting a paper, 334 to 48. There's a lot of stuff you can go back and review. That won't be reviewed. That'll be actually pretty new. There's also the rubric included, which will basically tell you how I'm going to grade it. There might be a couple modifications, but that's basically what you can expect. There's a lot of resources, effective citation of sources, formatting APA. Some of that is review, but I have had a number of students really struggle with APA. At this point in the game, we've done a lot, especially on the reference pages. Most of you have that down, but there's some of you that don't, so just go back and read those. Go to like Al Purdue. There's a lot of good resources that you can really tackle and like refresh yourself on these things. So if you're having a problem with APA, check those out. Try to work with them. Hopefully it'll work out. So you practiced some in-text citations in your lit review and in your outline. Most people are doing pretty good on those. The biggest thing I will warn is that a lot of people want to stick their citation at the end of a paragraph instead of citing every time that they're actually using information. That's something we really want to avoid. It's a pretty common mistake, especially when we're doing research at this level for the first time. But really, we want to show every time we're using a source. Sometimes it will be at the end of the paragraph, and if you have a particularly small paragraph, especially one that you're paraphrasing or summarizing, something from a source, then it might be the case that the entire thing is under one citation. But usually that's not going to be the case. Also remember, APA citations need signal phrases. Again, this is stuff that I've already talked about in my comments, and it's stuff that the reading has done, but it's another thing I've noticed that some people are having some trouble with. Okay, so there are a number of examples of essays, like I've mentioned before. look at these essays, read them, they will give you a good idea of what I'm expecting. Most of them are shorter than the 10 pages, the 2,500 words. That's because this is the first semester that we've moved to the longer paper, but with the shorter scope. So you're going to see these as being a little bit shorter than what you're doing, but the strengths are still the same. You are still looking at, making this argument, using these resources, kind of getting very in depth into them. So look at those. Those are a pretty solid idea. Next semester, when I have good, longer papers, the next semester will benefit from that. But still, I hope that they'll still give you a pretty good example of what you should be doing. They're solid examples of an academic essay of this type, even if your scope is a little bit more. What else do I want to talk about with this draft? Again, if you have put in the work to this point, you will find that, and most of you have. I feel like it might sound like I'm being a little disparaging in this video, and I'm not. I mean, 90% of you are doing fantastic, and even the people that have fallen prey to the stuff I've talked about this time, like, most of you are still doing great. It's just a matter of, like, refining your skills, refining your research process, getting these structures down. But I kind of lost my track, didn't I? I have all these notes, and they're not always clear or useful. But yeah, so most of you are doing fantastic, but I just want to bring these things up. They're important. Okay, so yeah, follow the drafts. The research. Oh, that was a weird autofocus. This is due on the 7th. I've pushed it back, like I said. I apologize if I haven't answered your emails yet. I'm going to do that immediately after. I think the last day that I really answered emails was Sunday mid-evening. So anybody that emailed me Monday, it's going to be that could be a little rough, but as always, I'm flexible, especially when it's my own fault, so I can work stuff out. So again, you have a week to work on this. There's no other assignment, so that should give you plenty of time to kind of mull it over. If you need extra help, the Writing Center can help you at any point in this paper. I would definitely suggest going to the Writing Center. They're fantastic. I, of course, am here to help. Wednesday nights are my nights. So I work from noon to 8:30. So I might take a little bit longer to get to your comments on Wednesday nights. But during the morning and my dinner break, I'll try to get to you guys. So again, I do apologize. Also, feel free to get a hold of the librarians. You can get the reference desk. You can also get a hold of Joe. I do really want to emphasize how great you guys have all been doing for the most part, and just say that I'm really excited for these essays. So many of you have such cool topics that you're obviously really interested in. There's some of you that are doing similar topics, and I'm excited to see how they play off of each other. Like I have two of you are doing like social media and development stuff. One focusing more on the developmental aspect, another one focusing more on mental health and that developmental stuff, and just really cool stuff. I've been really happy and interested in what you guys have been doing. Okay, I'm not going to prolong this. Hopefully this is very good information. If you do need anything, let me know. Okay, I'll talk to you guys all later. Bye.